So yeah, we're starting out with like this technical glitch. So that means everybody, what it means, Carol, is everybody was notified that we have a live stream. And then all of a sudden the live stream has to get cut off. So now they got to be notified again. And the likelihood of that is very slim. That's why you have to have these, you have to go live a lot to kind of get a hankering to get the hang of going live. Because going live is complicated. There's some things, it's not complicated. It's just one of those things that, you don't do all the time. I'm used to uploading videos and it's kind of a hands off after that. You don't have to worry about anything. But hey, if you're in here already, let us know. Jessica's already here. Go Vols. She sees the shirt. I've kind of got dueling oranges going on here. I've got the Union College hat going on. I got a few of these. So you get the Union College, which was a different orange back then. Oranges evolve. Orange is a strange thing, because it's like you have an orange. What's an orange called if it's not orange, right? You have the orange Tennessee Tennessee stuff. Never understood why Tennessee went with orange. You would think Florida would go with orange. Good to see Strong Adventures. Billy, how are you? Good to see you. The Dutch oven is coming. We're having a contest. It's happening. Always good to see Strongs on here. Guys, we have an amazing Vlogmas tonight because we're going to talk about, do you see this tree back here? We talked about it last year. I realized that. No, I'm not just duplicating topics, even though that's tempting. Just how many of you actually remember the topics from last year? That's the question. Yes, I know most of our topics devolve into Bigfoot and aliens, but that's beside the point. Christmas lights are a real problem. Do you see how sparsely lit or lighted? Because I found out that it can go either way with lit and lighted. How sparsely lighted or lit that tree is back there. And the reason why is because when I opened up all the Christmas lights this afternoon, and I go diving into decorating the Christmas tree, 4 boxes. I'm going to 1, 2, 3, 4 boxes of Christmas lights were defunct. And I got mad. Now, I've done a video about Christmas lights. You can check that out if you're watching this in the repost. We always have more people watch after the fact than we do during the fact. Carolyn, I'm going to need a favor from you, though. I'm going to need my power cord that I failed to remember to plug in. But we always get more people watching on the replay. So if you're watching on the replay, my video about Christmas lights will be in the corner. Probably if I get back to editing this, I got a lot to do, but I'm hoping I get back and edit this and add things. So there in the corner, you'll have a little thing about Christmas lights and like their history and stuff. But Christmas lights are this story about planned obsolescence. In case you didn't know it, it's in the video, so I won't belabor it here. But Christmas lights, they're American. I mean, if there's anything in America that's like apple pie and baseball and all that stuff, it would be Christmas lights. Thomas Edison and the light mafia. I got to turn that off because I've got bleed over now. This is what happens when you shut off crazy in a Vlogmas thing. It just goes crazy after that. But yeah, Thomas Edison and the bunch, they got together and they kind of planned for planned obsolescence. And that essentially planned obsolescence is when you purposefully make something to go defunct, to break and tear up so that people, and you make them cheap on purpose so that people would replace as opposed to trying to fix. Original light bulbs went a whole lot longer. In fact, up in New York, there's a light bulb from that time period that is still burning. So light bulbs from the earliest days went a lot longer than light bulbs do now. They probably weren't as energy efficient and whatnot, but still, they burned a lot longer. And so planned obsolescence is a thing. So if you think that they make things sometimes to tear up so you'll go buy another one, they do. That's a fact. And Christmas lights are one of those things that they make cheaply just so you will go back and buy more. And my thumbnail says it all. This is not a controversial video. This is just a fact. We know the culprit of the Christmas light craziness, but they didn't start it. So the thumbnail is a little, thumbnailish. It's because we're not going to really talk about China and stuff. But I'm just saying that's where all of the Christmas lights are made. If you go online right now and try to find American-made Christmas lights, you can get boutique lights, like real fancy lights, but you won't find just like a box of Christmas lights that are made in America. They are all made in China. They have a monopoly on Christmas lights for a country that doesn't really celebrate Christmas the way we do because it's not a Christian country. There are Christians in China, 250 million, in fact, but they don't celebrate Christmas as a nation the way most of us do. Variety Entertainment says, hello, And hello to you, Variety Entertainment. Variety Entertainment has a variety of entertainment. Nice name. I always love that name. When you comment on our videos, I always think that, like, that was a cool name. Why didn't we think of that? Instead, I didn't know any better, and I put my own silly name on there. Bridgie says, lights don't last long. I would love to have a lighted tree, but how long do the lights last on tree? They don't. That's the thing. We bought the lights. We had colored lights. It was some of our early videos are about it when Carolyn and I, for I think 3 years, we went to colored lights. Like, they're just colorful lights. It was real pretty, but our kids hated it, and they kept saying it was tacky. Like, it wasn't retro. It was tacky. So we had a contest, and we're going to have a contest this year as well about the Dutch oven. We'll talk about that probably tomorrow. But the whole idea of the colored lights was to have a contest, and was it retro or tacky, colored lights. So yeah, we decided to go back to all the white lights. And these lights did not last, but for 3 years, Bren, and they were gone. And Brengie says, nice hat tonight. Well, thank you. Kilted Adventure is on here, but I've got to plug his channel. Toby's awesome. Kilted Adventure is a great channel to watch. Strong's Adventure, another great channel. Both of those channels, if you've not subscribed, open up another browser, go into YouTube, and go look up their channels. Toby, if you post a link, we'll post it on here. Billy, you the same. Post links, guys. Push your channels. Billy's got a great cooking channel. So that's one of the reasons of why I wanted my Dutch oven back, is from watching his channel. Watching Billy's channel, it's a cooking channel. He and his wife do an amazing job at showing. It appears easy the way they do it, but I know when I get into it, it's not going to be. It's going to be crazy. Toby has a hiking channel. It's really an outdoor nature channel, and that's the Kilted Adventure. He wears a kilt, which is crazy. Went hiking with him, and I'll post that video later. Or repost it. It's an amazing video. We hike over in West Virginia, and he's in a kilt, but his whole channel is about kilt hiking and motivational stuff, and it's hilarious. All the people that came up to Toby, and I was like, dude, we got to go. We got another mountain to hike. And man, the people just stopped him and talked to him. So it's a thing. Dennis Jackson's here. Says, hello, Bill and Carolyn. Teresa and I have tuned in. Hello, Dennis. Hello, Teresa. Merry Christmas into the Beeville land, Barberville, Kentucky. I always call Barberville the center of the universe. It is. It is. Barberville is the center of the universe, and everybody just kind of rotates around it. There are people in foreign lands that know Barberville, Kentucky. Variety Entertainment said, it was the opposite for us. My brother and I wanted color lights. My parents wanted white lights. It was almost a divide like that in our family. Carolyn and I, we really were for the colored lights just to go retro for a few years. It wasn't a permanent thing, just to kind of warm up the house with colors a little bit one year. And you know how it goes. I mean, the kids revolted. We did it the rest of the time we were in Chattanooga, but when we came to Virginia, we said, okay, new year, new lights. But these lights have not held up. Bridgie also says that she loved the color lights. It's what my parents had, and it's what I like today. And the Kilted Adventure is just chiming in, talking to Billy, the other YouTuber. We have a lot of YouTubers that come on the channel and chat, and I'm always appreciative of that. While you guys are here, be sure you comment, hit the like button. We want to hear what you have to say. You have to understand, it is great when no comment is too silly, no comment is too crazy. We try to keep it fun and light. But other than that, man, feel free. Please comment. We absolutely love it. Gary Millwood says, evening, Mr. Bill. Evening, Gary. Always good to see Gary. Gary watches every video like most of you do. He's just a wonderful person. We're going to talk a little bit about that because the lighted Christmas tree, planned obsolescence. Every year, Carolyn and I go out and we make Christmas videos until this year. And the reason why is those Christmas videos, they don't circulate. I'm not sure why. I don't get it. But, we would go out. We went to Hershey, Pennsylvania, made a video. I don't know what happened. Maybe Hershey didn't want YouTubers making videos about it. I don't know. But it never grew, where some of our other Christmas videos grew a little. I am doing a shortest day of the year video because we've done one every year almost since we've had this channel. So I always like making the shortest day of the year videos. It's always fun. Billy says, I love how you're calling the colored lights retro. Well, yeah, because back in the day, you saw more trees with colored lights. And now some people, they stuck with it. Like, to them, that's the norm. Colored lights on a Christmas tree, that's Christmas. And I get that. If it's all colored lights, I wouldn't want white color, all that, because then it does look a little tacky. Unless they're the same shape, that would work. I don't know. Like, I'm a designer of Christmas tree lights. Heck, I don't know. The point is, like, if you see there's colored lights back there, we take those outside. We've got I think I've shown you guys the porch out here many times, a balcony, whatever, porch. I don't know. but we put those on the porch. But we're kind of at a standstill right now because we just simply don't have enough lights on the Christmas tree. So what we want to talk about tonight, other than Christmas lights, well, I guess it's not other than Christmas lights. It would be Christmas lights in general. Where do you go? Wherever you live, Texas. We got people in here from Texas, Tennessee, Georgia, South Carolina. This is just off the top of my head. There's one or two from Michigan. There's probably a few more from Virginia and I think one from West Virginia, if I'm thinking correctly right now. So where do you guys go? Because your region is going to dictate a little bit where you go. If you live here, it would be a day-long journey. But if you live in Harrisonburg, Virginia, like we do, one of the best places we've gone to see Christmas lights would have to be Hershey, Pennsylvania. The little pretend chocolate factory that they have there is really for little kids. We enjoyed it because we were thinking in the future. At the time, I didn't have a grandson, but I do now. So now we're thinking, okay, how old does he have to be to appreciate that? And we got about 3 years maybe four before he really appreciates it. But then he's going to love it because, it's candy. It's fun, but it's for kids, except for the amusement park. And those people are crazy up there. Listen, we love Six Flags. When we lived in Chattanooga, we would go to Six Flags. I've got a couple of videos on here about Six Flags after Christmas, like the day after Christmas, because it's a great place to go the day after Christmas. But here in Harrisonburg, long way from Six Flags in Georgia. So Carol and I went to Hershey, and they're crazy because the theme park, the rides, the roller coasters, some of them are open, and it was like 0 degrees outside. And they're wearing snowsuits. They knew how to dress. Carol and I are out there looking like rednecks gone wild, blue jeans and a coat, and it just wasn't cutting it. But one of the main attractions up there, Carol and I love this, are these it's a Christmas light thing you drive through. They have them everywhere.
And it's not at Hershey.
It's not at Hershey. You have to kind of drive out of Hershey a little bit, but I think it's a part of Hershey because you bought the tickets from Hershey. So it's a part of Hershey. And you drive around there, and at first I was like, it's like every other Christmas light thing going on in the country. But then you kind of go into the hills, and the effort that they put there as you're driving through the hills, camera just didn't do it justice because it was night, but man, it was fantastic. It was awesome. So if you're in this area during Christmas, it's about 3.5 hours from here. It's up in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. So it's not far at all. By the way, if you're just joining us, welcome. Be sure you comment because it's important, and also hit that like button. We want to hear what you have to say. Billy at Strong's Adventure says both kids have moved out, and we're taking a break with the decorations this year. 5 years of setting up all the lights here and decorating the campsite. Golly, because you got the campsite too, Billy. You guys got to check out his channel because he goes into both of these things. Decorating a campsite for 5 days has taken its toll. Carol and I talked about that this year briefly. Last year we talked about it more than this year, though. I think the grandkid has got us a little more pumped up for Christmas, But last year we were facing the same thing. And I got in the mood, and actually I was the one that instigated last year. I started bringing the boxes up. This year, Carolyn started instigating. But it was after Thanksgiving. Back in the day, I'm talking about just 4 or 5 years ago, 1 year, I think we decorated the day after Halloween.
That was you.
That was me. And we were all in. I mean, Christmas was a thing. It was happening. Carolyn and I, when we first got married, went a few years where we didn't where we didn't participate. We didn't put up a tree for 2 years. Mm-hmm. 2 years where we didn't participate. We wanted to kind of just see what life is like without Christmas. And it was like, oh, this is fine. And it was a great reboot to celebrating something wanting to celebrate it as opposed to feeling forced, like society was forcing something on you. As far as your Christian faith, even in Catholicism, Christmas was sort of a minor holiday. It wasn't a big holiday, but I think it's easy to get caught up in obligations at Christmas as opposed to actually celebrating Christmas, the birth of Christ. And we wanted to make sure that priority was there. But sure, Billy, I understand. Take a year off. And you know what would be awesome is if you took a year off and actually went and enjoyed other people's Christmas stuff. Like, did the Gatlinburg thing or whatever's in your area there in Texas, or is it Texas, Louisiana? I'm drawing a blank here. I'm pretty sure it's Texas. My buddy Billy, who hikes with me, we got, I think 3 or 4 Bills in here right now, but Billy McDaniel, who hikes with me, he's been on our channel a few times. You guys know him. If he steps back in, he'll tell you, driving out to other places and whatnot and kind of getting an experience for what's going on around you is awesome. But his favorite state in the world is Texas. Billy says, Nobles in Pennsylvania has a great drive-through from what I heard and seen. We need to write that down. Nobles. Right now, I have to fix the transmission in my truck, which means replace it. And that is going to cost me $5,000. It's like $4,600. But yeah, so I'm like, we're on a hiatus. But it's Vlogmas time anyway. Now, the thing is technically we can do Vlogmas and still do videos. We put out 3 regular videos while we were doing Vlogmas last year. But right now, we're kind of grounded. It's just one of those things. Kilted Adventure, Toby, he says, Rock City Enchanted Garden of Lights is an annual tradition for our family. Hey, listen, you know what? This is crazy. We've never been to Rock City's light show, and we lived in Chattanooga, and that's a crime. We lived there together for 13 years. I was in the Tennessee Valley for 20, not counting junior high school, and never went to Lookout Mountain or Rock City's light show, and that's probably a crime. So that's another one that you probably need to see, even though I can't really endorse it, but everybody goes. It's a thing. It happens. Bringy says, you don't have decorations for Christmas. We all know Christmas isn't about decorations. That's right. It's not. Doesn't mean that it's a bad thing to have decorations, though. It's where Carolyn and I got to. We wanted to take 2 years where we just weren't, we didn't want to play, when we first got married. But when we started participating in Christmas again, we got this tree back. We love our tree. Matter of fact, it's time to replace the tree because this was like 12 years. She's giving me a look right now. But we wanted to replace the tree. Or I do, because it's time to replace it. But it's so sentimental to our family because that was the first tree we had when we decided to celebrate Christmas again. And we love it. It's full. It's beautiful. You can't really tell because I'm using my laptop camera still. My son got me a camera. Speaking of cameras, my son got me a camera this past year. And love his heart. He saved up for it. I'm so proud of him. He's a young man. He works really hard. He's a genius. I think he hung the moon. The problem with that camera is it number one, I'm not smart enough to use it. It's not in 4K. So we're having issues still developing its use. It can't stream. You can't stream with it. So that's another issue that we've run into. Mark from Boston, always good to see Mark. And Mark is, when Mark talks, it's mock. It's mock. I love Mark to death. Mark and I have become friends over the past few years. Just love him and his family. We keep up with him. And he says, he's talking here, he's just saying hi to everybody. And Brent says, your tree isn't leaning, by the way. She remembers last year. It's not leaning as bad, but it is leaning because I can tell. I can see it and I go, it's leaning. It's one of those obsession things. I could totally be that dad on A Christmas Story. I could totally be that dad. Variety Entertainment says, that's a real nice built-in laptop camera. Indeed. I need a camera, but I need a camera that is in HD, and I need a camera that is in the newer cameras are very expensive, but they're more intelligent to where I'm not having to fix on settings and spend so long on settings and then trying to figure out what the best shot is. And the 4K issue is also pretty bad. The video on the camera it's in 1080p, but it just doesn't, I don't know if it's the lens. I'm not really sure. Carolyn's been using almost an exact copy of the same camera for years for photography. And even she is like, okay, it's time to move on. But I'm so thankful for that camera that, which Nathan wouldn't care if I traded it. I mean, he would totally understand, but I don't know how to, if you can trade cameras or if there's even a market for like, how would one go about doing that? Mark says, season greetings to you as well. Fragile. Brent says, fragile. It's a what's that? It's a fragile. It's a fugazi. These lights are fragile. Okay. That's going to be the word this season, I think. Fragile. It just kind of rolls off. Fragile. No, these lights back here, it almost ruined my evening. And I thought the only way I can remedy this is to talk about it. And it's the truth. I'm not kidding you. All Christmas lights that you put on a tree, they're from, all of them are for China. I'm not saying that's a reason to get into a war with China. I'm not saying that, people. I'm just saying, if you're mad at Christmas because of Christmas lights, I'm just saying. You tell me, is that a reason to have a grief against China? That to me might be, you add that to the list of grievances, Christmas lights. But I got to be honest, before China was ever in the Christmas lights game, like way back in the 60s, Christmas lights were already becoming pretty defunct and pretty cheap. Toby at Kilted Adventure says 21 years, third tree, purchased after Christmas for half the price 2 years ago. And it's a beautiful. Hope it lasts more than 3 years. LED, so fingers crossed. LED lights, here's the thing. LED lights are nice. And I was reading before I ever came online about LED lights. Like, should we switch to LED? And the thing is, and everybody says this, is that LED lights are just simply not as warm. They're just not as warm. Billy says, but they last 3 times longer. They last 3 times longer. So, there's that. Anything's got to be better than opening up your Christmas decorations that you've had stored for 11 months or 10, depending on when you decorate. Okay. Because again, Carolyn and I have pulled Christmas stuff out like October 31st. We've been there. We've done the early Christmas stuff, and you pull the lights out and you plug them in and they don't come on. They came on. They were on when you took them down. I made sure every year I do this. I make sure that they're on as I'm rolling them. They're on. And then when I unplug them, I gently put them in the box. And then the box goes into a plastic box, a plastic bin with all the other Christmas lights. Very neat, with a little note that I make every year about my impression about the year to come. Do I not do that? And because this year I read about 2020, and I remind myself of what was on my mind. And I'm sure you can imagine what was on my mind. The same thing that was on most of your mind. When is this thing going to end? And so I wrote about that. I wrote about God's goodness and his grace and his mercy. And I wrote it's a little note I write to myself for the next year. And I put that in there. But nothing has touched those lights. They weren't dropped. I held them nicely, walked downstairs, put them in. It's the laundry room downstairs. No water. Nothing can touch them is what I'm trying to say. So how is it that you reverse that process? The very next year, you open the box up, you get the lights out, you plug the lights back in, and half of those lights aren't working. Explain that. Like, is it a Smurf? In German, it's what is it? Schlumpf, ein Schlumpf in German, because it's like a German thing. Smurfs are. Bet you didn't know that one. I have an original German Smurf. I was a kid. Okay, I didn't buy it as an adult. It was bought for me, but it was when we lived in Germany, and I'll never forget. It was ein Schlumpf. I think that's how you say it. I don't know. Somebody correct me in the comments. But anyway, I don't know why I got off on that, other than to say, how is it did a Smurf or a Gremlin get into the Christmas lights and start, I don't know, disconnecting them, making them not work, to where when I plug them in to decorate the tree, they don't work. You're jiggling them. And they're right. With planned obsolescence, you're not going to take the time to check the bulbs, because let's say you paid yourself an imaginary $8 to $10 an hour to go through all your sets of lights, seeing if they work, replacing bulbs. You would spend $1,000 in hours and time trying to replace them. So what do? You go to Walmart and you spend $100 in lights that are going to go out again the next year. Folks, it's time to rebel. It's time to write our congressman. It's time to revolution in the Christmas lights world. I don't know if that's a good idea, but something's got to give. Variety Entertainment says, isn't it mostly American companies contracting the lights to be manufactured in China? Yes, Variety. This is all shtick, of course. I mean, if they didn't have somebody to sell them here in America, like Walmart, who's sharing in that profit, in that profit chain, then yeah, you're exactly right. So it's all shtick. I'm being silly. That's exactly right. I mean, I would say I didn't go this far into into my Christmas lights video, but I would say, American manufacturers were like, there's no money in this. And China found a way to make money because they don't pay labor, or they pay them very little. Brent says, and they're probably 3 times as expensive. Variety Entertainment says, my neighbors had LED lights one year and they all broke just the same as the old ones. So they went back to incandescent because they're cheaper. This is true, but according to the internet, and we all know that the internet is infallible. We all know that the internet is a perfect place of information. The internet is not at all a sewer of information. It is the superhighway of information. The internet says that LED lights have come a long way and they are better now. So there's that. Strong's Adventure. Billy says, Bill, you're talking to a guy that has 45 plastic totes of just outside Christmas. I know you do, because I've seen your videos at Christmas. I can't believe you're not doing Christmas this year. I mean, It's like I want to stop for a minute. And Toby, with the Kilted Adventure, he's actually looking into some software for us to be able to collaborate on these live streams, whether it's Vlogmas or whatever. And I'd love for you to get involved as well. And he's kind of looking into what we're needing to do that, because that would be great to be able to show just excerpts from your videos on one of these things about what all you do at Christmas, because it was crazy for you to be taking a year off. That's a big deal. That is a big deal. I don't even know what to say about that. Bridgie says, it's the little Christmas gremlins. Must be. It must be. Santa's elves are working for the Communist Party in China. Of course elves are communist. How else do you get people to live in the North Pole? I'm just saying. Variety Entertainment says, if I were you, I would check each and every bulb. Clark Griswold's. I haven't watched that yet this year, but that's a tradition. I hear what's her name's voice always in my head. Clark. I love that movie. Kilted Adventure says, don't buy off-brand LEDs. Do yourself a favor and go name brand. I'm not ready to make the jump to LEDs, I don't think. I just don't think they're as warm. I don't get the same, I know this is weird. I don't get the same shocking kind of feeling. You know, when you walk in and you see it, it just doesn't look the same. It looks like LED. My son is all into lights and lighting stuff. And he's amazing at it. He won't let, I wanted to make a video just on where he lives and how he's lit his domain, because it's amazing. It is absolutely amazing. When you walk in, you almost feel like you're in line for a Disney ride. It's so well lit. It's just amazing. But he uses all LED, and he can control them with his phone and an iPad. And it was just amazing to get the baby to sleep while we were down there, because we stay down where he's at, and we can adjust everything on the iPad. And he's got a Hoth setting. It's like Hoth on Empire Strikes Back, where everything turns blue and icy. It's just really cool. Mark Sezowitz. Did I get it? Did I get it, Mark? Sezowitz, right, Carol?
I think so.
I hope so. Says, but what about that K? There's a K in there. Sezowitz. He'll tell me.
Sezowitz?
No, I think it says Wicks. I think I had it. I practiced that when I was preaching about his family. What was it? March of 2020?
I don't remember.
I remember saying his name over and over again to make sure that I would get it right. I just practiced it again and again. Juan Thomas says, some of my lights did the same. I took them down. Yeah, we did too. That's why our Christmas tree back here is so empty. And there's the colored lights right there. They're going outside on the banister of the patio, whatever it's called. Juan Thomas or Jessica Harris says, how in the world did you go from LED Christmas lights to elves being communists? Because that's how I roll. That's what this channel is all about. Attention deficit talking. Bryn G, Jessica, it's Bill. Have you ever watched my videos? I mean, really, they're all over the place. That's what makes them fun. That's why you're here. Just playing. Seriously, and I said this last year, but it never materialized, and I'm not sure if it's my fault. I guess the reason why it never materialized is because I didn't put up, I'm afraid of failure. That's what it is. And I couldn't find a place that I found was cost effective, because I wanted to have a get together and say, hey, let's get together somewhere everybody can kind of get to and have a grill out and talk, make videos, and just have a good time. I think the hardest thing that we had is finding a place, because some of our faithful listeners or watchers, they live all over the place. We got a few live in Texas. We got a couple in Virginia. We got people in Michigan. We got people in Kentucky. We've got people in Arizona, in Arizona. So it's hard to find a place. And then you're hoping people be like, I'm road trip, you know. And I didn't want to be like selfish and locate it close to Carolyn and myself, because it is harder to get out here for people who live in the Midwest or the Southwest or whatever. It's kind of hard. So I still would love to get together. And I think that would just be I think it'd be a hoot. I think it'd be a good time. Just a roasting Bill session, which we're trying to get together and have on here. Gary says, we are all a bucket of nuts, right? But yes. And here's the thing. We all fit together. It's great. That's why we're here. The demographics on my channel, we got to talk about that too, because it's fun, because this is stuff that, I don't get into on the videos much. I will say this, a few things about YouTube, just some house cleaning stuff about YouTube. I wouldn't call it house cleaning. I don't know what you really call it. Really just information for you.
411.
The 411, the T, if you will. The students at the church had to teach me that saying. I did not know about the T. But to give you the tea about, when you comment on a YouTube video, you're more likely to get the recommendations. It's one thing if I put up videos and you're not in the mood to watch Bill Marion video. I get that. Especially if you watched one, you watched a couple and they just weren't for you. But what happens is if you don't comment and you don't hit the like button on a YouTube channel, and if you're not subscribed to the channel and you've hit the like button, all that stuff that people tell you to do over and over again, you're not as likely to have it recommended again. So for all your YouTube favorites, whether it's Toby on here, whether it's Bill at Strong's Adventures, all of those guys, make sure you're subscribed. Make sure you've hit the like button. Make sure you leave a comment. Nice video. The music's terrible. Show less of your face and more of the nature. I've had people say that. And look, I'm like, my mug is a work of nature. Would you look at this? It is like the Appalachian Mountains. There are high places, low places, places that are more moist than others. It's just like the mountains. But if they're like the mountains, it's probably more like West Virginia's mountains, rugged. No, you're not buying this me either. The point I'm trying to make is leave a comment always helps that creator. So if you like their overall body of work, even if you don't like a few videos, make sure if you are watching one you don't like or one you like or don't like, always leave a comment. You can tell in our channel, you can always say something like this. Gary does it. Gary has said this. Not my favorite video. I remember Gary was a few videos ago. He goes, this wasn't my favorite, but the music was okay or something. And I love that. I love that, especially if somebody's coming on there all the time. We love it. For a while, all my earlier videos, everybody's always commenting about the music. We talked about that last Vlogmas. The mix was bad. It was, but the mix is better now. But I use different kinds of music. And so sometimes I get a lot of comments about that. That's always an inside joke between Gary and myself. It's a lot of fun. Variety says, we are hiding the dislike counter for viewers to help creator mental health, but also creators can still see the dislike counter, just not the viewers. YouTube. I get you. I feel you. By the way, check out Variety Entertainment's channel. I know you guys got stuff going on over there too. And I haven't been over there in a while, so please forgive me. It's my fault. I've not been surfing. I'll tell you what happened. I watched during the holidays. To wind down, the baby would be going to sleep like in Carolyn's arms at night. That's when we kept the baby that we had a strategy, and it was such a special moment. I'm so grateful for Anna and Oz letting us have these bonding moments over Thanksgiving. It was just great. And so Carolyn would lay back in one of the reclining couches, and she would football hold Ezekiel, and she'd go to sleep, and then I'd be beside her, and then I would kind of unwind. And I discovered the Get Back documentary that Peter Jackson did. He's the director of Lord of the Rings and all that stuff. District 9. He's Peter Jackson. Come on. You guys know him. And he got all this lost footage of the Beatles right before they broke up. And I got really into it. Because I'm sure the demographics on this channel suggest that most of you either grew up with the Beatles or you just know a lot about the Beatles. And it's the Beatles. So everybody here, regardless of your age, probably knows a little bit about the Beatles. And I just got so into this documentary. But the documentary doesn't really play like a documentary. It just shows you these 22 days leading up to this concert that they did on the roof of their studio there in London, which was amazing. And most of you have probably seen the video Get Back, and it was filmed there on above the studio on the roof. So that got me on a Beatles kick. Just researching, just want to know the story, what the latest is, because, that was an evolving story. Who broke the Beatles up? Yoko. I don't care what people say. But anyway, it kind of shows a different side. And what I fell in love with while watching this, of course, they were genius musicians. That goes without saying. They were indeed genius musicians. But what I loved about it was watching how much they really loved each other and understanding why they broke up. I understand. It made so much sense. George was wanting to make music on his own. He wanted more influence of the Beatles, and he wasn't going to get that. That was all about John and Paul. John was in love and didn't want to give the band the same amount of time, and it was frustrating Paul. So it makes sense that and Ringo's Ringo, he's just Ringo. I think Ringo is just that lovable guy that you have to have in a group to kind of keep everybody together. And Ringo's sort of like the kid during the divorce. I'm just saying. It's, because he spent a lot of time with Paul later, but early on he spent a lot of time with John. It's just weird. But watching that, it was just, I saw the young men, the boys of Liverpool, as they say. I watched them, and they were just, I don't know. It touched me hot. And then listening to Paul and John talk, I'm working on an imitation or an impersonation rather, yeah, of their accents. It's because it's just so unique, even for a British accent. Let's catch up on our comments. Variety says, "Well, I haven't been over here in a while either, so it's good." I don't care. I totally get it. I totally get it. But I like to keep up with channels who you've kind of got some things in common. I love keeping up with what you guys do. Brent G says, "I love the Beatles." I knew you would, of course. The Kilted Adventurer says, "And Bill, please never talk about moist places on your face ever again." Toby, come on, man, come on, man. Juan Thomas says the Beatles are still number one. They are by far. I don't listen to a lot of rock music. I don't have time, but they have to be the greatest band in history. I would argue that you have to do that by the decade, but there are some bands that change. There are some bands that change the format, and the Beatles were that. The Beatles sort of helped to invent rock and roll, but also to give rock and roll a space to branch out and do other things. In other words, rock and roll could evolve. They made it to where rock and roll could evolve and to change into different stuff, and it did. So they were amazing. I would also argue that the greatest pop band, the greatest top 40 band ever was the Eagles. Now, prove me wrong, somebody. Prove me wrong. If you think radio and playable, you think the Beatles. It's playable. I'm not talking about for the young kids right now. I'm talking about in the majority of our lifetime. I have played the Beatles before for my kids, and my kids go, "That's good," and bluffed them. I said, "This is the newest group. I want you to hear these guys. They're hot. They're red." And I played it for my son, and he was like, "They're really good." And I was like, "That's the Beatles." So you can do that. I guess you could say that there was a burnout with the Eagles. I got tongue tied there. There was a burnout. Mock says, Led Zeppelin did it for me. Yeah, but I would look at Led Zeppelin. You wouldn't have a Led Zeppelin if you didn't have a Beatles. That's the way I mean, it's sure, Led Zeppelin's amazing. There are other rock bands who hated Led Zeppelin. But by the way, what's his name? The guitarist. I just found out the other day that I can't remember his name now. What is his name? Famous guitarist, Led Zeppelin. But I found out that if Led Zeppelin hadn't happened, there were like 15 other groups that wanted him, that he was a big deal.
Was it Jimmy Page?
Jimmy Page, thank you. He was a big deal during the Beatles time as a young person. Like they knew about him, where he's from. The Kilted Adventure says, "What about the Monkees?" "Oh, I could hide neath the wing of a bluebird." I love the Monkees. I know they were a joke band, but you know what? Some of their songs were awesome. Robert Plant, But I know who Robert Plant is. But yeah, wrong member. Sorry. Oh, it's what Billy, have you and Mom been talking? Strong's Adventure says you wouldn't have the Beatles if it wasn't for Elvis. You sound like my mother. My mom thinks Elvis Presley is like part of the Trinity. I mean, she is obsessed with Elvis. All of her, and I've told you guys this before, but I'll say it again in case you've never caught our live stream. Mom will say something like, "Yeah, I watched that video. Do you know what you need to do on YouTube?" Which is another way of saying I don't really like what you do on YouTube. But she said, "You need to do Elvis stuff. You need to just show Elvis stuff." I'm like, "Mom, that's copyrighted. I can't do that." And she's like, "Well, other people do." And she is, if you check her history on YouTube, it is nothing but Elvis. She's obsessed with Elvis. So if I talk about, because I was talking about over Thanksgiving, trying to engage Mom about, her time period, the Beatles and all that stuff. And Mom's like, "Yeah, but they're not Elvis." I'm like, please. But I think it's apples and oranges. I think you've got Elvis, who didn't write, he added his name to a few songs, but it was kind of like a donation. I'm an Elvis fan. Of course I'm an Elvis fan. How can you not be an Elvis fan? But I'm just saying, when it comes to raw talent, songwriting, the whole package, Elvis had the charisma and transformed the forum much in the same way the Beatles did, if not more so, of course. It's Elvis. But again, Elvis borrowed most of his stuff. I know that's controversial, but let's face it, he did, and brought it to the mainstream. But he did so brilliantly, and he did so with style, and he did so without having to be controversial himself, which that's another brilliant thing. He's been criticized for that. But to me, I think it's brilliant. Why would somebody want controversy? I don't understand that. But Elvis knew just to stick to what he could do. Kilted Adventurer says, or see, Gary Millwood said ZZ Top. Oh my gosh. ZZ Top's they're strange. I watched a documentary about them. I'm trying to think of what it was. Might have been last year. And interesting guys. And that was an interesting group. And I did not know because I was only a kid when they were out, and I really wasn't into music at the time. Not really. And because I was young when they were at their height. But looking back, they were huge. They were huge. They played arenas, man. They were amazing. Their music, probably I respect it as a guitarist because I'm a guitarist. So I respect a lot of their music now more so. But it's that they had that Texas rock sound, that was so huge in the late 70s and then made this crazy kind of niche comeback in the 80s. Strong's Adventure says it was Elvis, first the Beatles. Come on, I watched Forrest Gump. Well, it was. I mean, you're right. No, you're right. And the Beatles, were the Beatles in Forrest Gump? I can't remember. I don't think so. Well, that should tell us everything right there. I mean, if Forrest Gump didn't know the Beatles, then they shouldn't have been there. Juan Thomas said, who's Elvis? Man, if my mom comes in here, I'm telling you, she will not be silent. Bridgie says the Monkees were great. From what I understand, they were only supposed to be a group for the TV show. That is correct. But they went viral, for lack of a better word, for back then. That's true. That is exactly true. And they actually kind of got messed over. They wanted to make a movie like the Beatles had made a movie. They were supposed to be shtick about the Beatles, like a running joke about the Beatles. And it didn't work out. The film process, the guy that, man, I'm drawing a blank now, Jack Nicholson was involved, but they tried to make it too psychedelic and it ended up just flopping. Jessica Harris says, my parents used to clean a house for somebody who dated Elvis. No way. No way. And she had love letters from him that he wrote while he was in the military. Oh, we got to have that, man. You're going to have to take some pictures. We got to have that. That's worth a video right there. Love me, tender, love me. The Kilted Adventurer says, Shrek made the Monkees popular again. Kind of, because that was Smash Mouth doing Monkees music, right? And Smash Mouth is not popular right now. I don't know if y'all knew that or not, but they're like on the outs. I'll let you Google that on your spare time. Not really for this channel, that kind of controversy. The Kilted Adventure says John Lennon and Forrest Gump were on the Dick Cavett. That's right. I forgot about that scene. That was like after the Beatles had broken up. And if you watch those interviews with Dick Cavett, with John and Yoko, you can tell John's nursing an addiction. And that's all I'm going to say. He had issues. From what I understand, he kind of overcome those issues. I hate it that because Paul and John loved each other as true friends. They were brothers, and they had a spat, and it was time for the band to break up anyway. But they made up, and we know that. Like that's a factual statement, and they were writing songs against each other for a while. It's hilarious, it's sad, but it's hilarious. But they made up. And here's the funny part: they got together and made bread. They would get together and talk about bread recipes. They both had gotten into a hobby, and that's a place that they found to communicate, and they would hang out for hours. And that was kind of nice. I don't know. I'm a sucker for things like that. There's just a good redemption arc. Mock says it says Bad Company was a highly underrated group. I remember Bad Company. And has anyone heard of Robin Trower? I'm drawing a blank on Robin. Hey, Dennis, it's good to see you, buddy, as always. Be here tomorrow, man. Be here tomorrow, same time, same bat time, same bat channel. Love you, mean it. Ron Thomas says, I love Robin Towers. Is it Towers or Trower? Google him. Google Robin Towers or Tower. I'm kind of interested. It's fascinating. I wasn't a fan of George Harris. Sue me. I know. Go ahead. We can talk about this. He was whiny to me in this special. By the way, I highly recommend that special. It's long, and you have to be into that sort of thing, and you have to have an attention span longer than 10, 20 minutes. I mean, you had to sit still, and believe it or not, because I love music, because I play guitar, and I was never a Beatles fan. I wasn't like one of those guys that, I've got all their albums. I wasn't that guy. But if you don't respect what they contributed to music in general, you're just a moron. So I wanted to see the behind the scenes about everything, but it held my attention. All three parts, they're on Disney Plus, of course. So check it out. Oh, Juan says he forgot the R. So it is Trowers. It is Trowers. Bailey Strong's Adventure says, actually, The saying Elvis has left the building was first said here in Shreveport, Louisiana. I knew it. Why did I have you in Texas? Was here in Shreveport at the Municipal Auditorium. I did not know that. That is some, you know what I need to do? I need to make a facts video. This other YouTuber did it. Can't remember his name. I'm drawing a blank. Very popular YouTuber. But he does like so many facts in 20 minutes. And like they're just random facts. I'm going to do that, Carolyn. I'm going to work on that. A random fact video where I'll say 30 facts in 2 minutes or 30 facts in 10 minutes. It takes a lot of, I mean, that would take a lot of time editing too. That'd be kind of crazy. But that would be a fact that you would put on there. That'd be awesome. The Kilted Adventure says, we have an office in Shreveport. Big Louisiana fan. Great state. It's been too long. Louisiana, I have not been there since 1995. Christmas, and it was a drive-through on the way to Galveston, Texas. So it's been that long. So before then, it had been when I was a kid in '86. Dad preached a revival down there, and I was in Morgan City. Shreveport was another area we were at, and I remember it. But it was during Mardi Gras. It was during January and all that. So my memory, I was in 6th grade, so I don't remember it as well. I want to visit one of my best friends. Matter of fact, the Dutch oven deal, the whole shtick about the Dutch oven. I learned to cook with a Dutch oven, jambalaya, or as he says it, jambalaya, crawfish etouffee. I learned to cook all those things from one of my best friends, if not my best friend, Ian Himba, and he's from Louisiana. He lives there now. In fact, he's a merchant marine, so he's sailing. He's out working, but he's a great conversationalist. He's never here, it seems like, for Vlogmas, because I'd love for him to be a fly on the wall in here and just talk. But his mom was teaching him, and I kind of was there and learned how to make real jambalaya as opposed to the box junk. So I'm excited. We're trying to figure out. I'm going to have to get the tripod that has the oscillating. I have to film or video on the camera, but I want to kind of do like this 8-hour grand finale, not grand finale, but like a huge live stream, because to make jambalaya, it's like a 5 or 6 hour process of boiling everything down. And the real hard part for me, the hard part would be to talk for 5 hours. Or would that be a hard part? It might not be that hard. Okay. That might be easier than I realized, but that's what I want to do, and make jambalaya during Vlogmas. And so it probably will come later, the next few days, and showcase the amazing Dutch oven. But it's because of Louisiana, it's because of Louisiana. And the Cajun influence on they are Cajun, and love Ian to death. You guys would love him. He's hilarious. Bill at Strong's, let's see. Mark says he's not from Alaska, Bill, not Texas. I'm telling you. Billy says, well, that's cool. The Kilted Adventures, talking to Kilted Adventures. And you're moving to Tennessee? Is that what I'm understanding? Because that's crazy. Kilted Adventure says, fun fact, my family was almost catfish farmers in Windsor, Louisiana, near Winsboro. I would have never met Bill if that had happened. Oh, we would have met on YouTube, too. We'd have met on YouTube. Juan Thomas, Bill, need my Dutch oven back before Christmas. The one I won from you last year. Did Juan win a Dutch oven last year?
We need to go back and look at that.
Because did we have, tell me about that. Because Juan, I love you. I'll send you one anyway. Because I love you. You can count on Juan to watch every video we have and watch all of it and comment. He's one of the greatest viewers. Him and Bringy, I could go on. Many of you are like that. But Juan he's just special. He is a CIA agent, and we all know it. We all know it. The Kilted Adventurer says, East Tennessee hopes. East Tennessee, I hope, brother. Let's connect the next time you're in these parts. Strong Adventure says, if you were talking, it would probably be about a 10-hour cook. Close to it, Billy. Close to it. I'm telling you, we are going to get. We don't have the parameters of the giveaway yet, though. That's the thing. We want to have parameters, and you can get a Dutch oven for $50. I'm just being honest, but I want to make sure that I get one that, I don't know, it'd be cool. It'd be cool to do something with it. You know what? Every channel sells stuff. I even had a video, and in one of the closing videos, it said we're going to have merch, and I didn't follow through with it. The problem is I don't know what to sell for this channel. Like, okay, shirts. Like, okay, what do you put on it? A nose for life? Who's going to wear that shirt? I mean, think about it. So I need your help right now. Let's talk. Let's have a business meeting. Let's have a business meeting. Let's pretend that you are all on the board of this media property. And this business meeting has come to order. So what here? So what kind of product do I need to sell on this channel? And I literally thought over the past 10 months, I'm not making this up, of having Dutch ovens. I'm not kidding, because of the ongoing shtick, and having something like put into the iron, like a Nose for Life. Because it's weird to put my name on something, because who's going to want really, Bill Marion on the side of of course, then again, you could start a trend. Like this is a Bill Marion Dutch oven. Like if they were really, really good Dutch ovens. Like what could I sell here? Kilted Adventure says apple butter. You know what? I'm proud of our channel. We did sell apple butter on this channel. I just want to say that we did. We sold 2 quarts.
No, 2 different customers.
I apologize.
They had more than that.
6? Oh, I did. You know what? I forgot about that. So we actually sold like 6 quarts. Juan said it was good. He said it was okay. But that's for the church. It's not really to help with the channel, to help with our expenses. Gas has gone up and all that stuff.
He didn't say it was good. He said it was good.
Yeah, I know, but I didn't want to like make it to where Juan Thomas is actually endorsing our product, because, you know, he might have said it's good to make us feel good, but he might not have liked it. I don't know.
Really?
I don't know. I always looked at it as just helping a charitable cause for the church. I thought it was good. I thought it was the best we've ever made at the church. Like I said, I've been here 4 years, and it's a long tradition of theirs. It's one of the traditions that they had that we kept, because it's, it's just a good family atmosphere. You get there dark 30, and everybody's got to take a turn stirring these big cauldrons. It's just a lot of fun. I really like it. Gary Millwood says, Dutch ovens. I live close to the Lodge factory. Okay. Toby says that Kilted Adventure, definitely not your face with crevices and moisture. Love you, man. We're back to that again. Strong's Adventure says you need to have an Opryland shirt. If I were editing this, I would have like put really serious music with that look and done one of those, because it's like dun dun dun. It's not a bad idea. But how do you tie that into the channel as a whole? Because that's like one video. It was my first kind of big hit. I mean, relatively speaking to our channel, of course. I don't know what the view count is on that. But it's for our channel. It makes us money. We make a couple of dollars a month on that. But I don't know how to tie that into the whole channel. I thought about doing like hiking gear, but that's high dollar stuff. And honestly, of the 100 viewers that we have that return, you know, some that comment, some that don't, we'll get an inbox on Facebook. Some people comment through Facebook, but they won't come to a live stream. I've hinted around. I talked to them, and I don't know why, but they don't. But you want something that people, first of all, you don't want something so expensive, but I want something that people would use, right? I mean, that makes sense. Billy says, I would buy 4 of the Opryland shirts. Okay, what does the Opryland shirt say? What does it say? Like, it's just Opryland? And can I do that? Can I make a shirt with a theme park attraction on it? Because I'm being serious right now. Bring Opryland back. I don't know. I mean, I wonder how you do that. Variety Entertainment says, yeah, I found you from the Opryland video. You know what? Those were early videos. The Opryland one was actually a serious video. I didn't know how to mix well at all then. I would make that video so much better now. The Cumberland Gap video, I have come close to deleting that video on numerous occasions because that was when I was trying to find what I did on this channel. And it's conspiracy oriented. I said all this last year. I hate to repeat myself from last year, but I don't think Variety was with us last year. I don't think Variety was with us. That's if you took that out of context, that would be bad. I don't think Variety was with us this year. But no, if that video isn't really who we are, and it was meant to be shtick, it was meant to be a farce. And if you read the comments through there, it's like people watched 5 minutes of the video and they started making comments. And it goes to the extreme. It goes to the truck drivers who actually think that I'm having a problem with the tunnel. You've got that. And then it goes into the other extreme of the conspiracy weirdos. Look, I know that there are conspiracies. Of course there are. When people in power get behind closed doors and make decisions that the public and other people don't know about, you could label any of that a conspiracy, by definition. But I'm talking about conspiracies, aliens and Bigfoot kind of stuff. Which, hey, if you like Bigfoot and believe in aliens and all that stuff, That's on you. I'm not putting that down at all. We joke around about Bigfoot all the time. But Cumberland Gap video, or the Cumberland Gap video, I've thought about going back and making another one. Even the park reached out to us on that video. I mean, and it was kind of like, and I wrote the same thing I've said to a lot of comments. We don't make videos like this anymore, you know, that kind of thing. Let me catch up here in the comments.
Mike, never delete by Felicia.
The problem, Bryn, with having BM, as in Bill Marion or something else, is that BM stands for bowel movement. See, I've had to deal with that for a long time. BM is not the greatest, you know. Kilted Adventurer says, LED lights outsourced from China. Of course they are. But they might be better, you know, because they're LED. They're LED. Juan Thomas says, hiking, walking sticks, boots. I thought about that kind of stuff. Then you get into overhead and profit margins. You know, it would be great to have, because developing your own boot, there's money involved with that. And then the overhead, you've got to make money. It looks like something I'd do down the road. Hiking sticks. Billy McDaniel got me one, and it's the one I use it occasionally. And I thought, this is not a bad idea for a product. And you put a nose for life on it. You have it engraved on the side. Like, but how many of those are you going to sell? You know, you might sell 2 or 3. And that I don't know if that many people are going, you know, I need a hiking stick. You know, I mean, you want something that entices people. Everybody on YouTube has, you know, this video is sponsored by NordVPN or whoever. But it feels so inauthentic to me for my channel to, and I fought this for years. I mean, ever since we got partnered up with YouTube, and I was like, okay, now it's time to have something. Then I get stuck at this part. I love the idea of the Opryland shirt. If I'd stayed along those lines of making, and we do make theme park videos. I mean, we have made a theme park video too, but I think about the legal aspect with Opryland. So it's like, how long can you sell those before? And I wish I could go back to that Opryland video if I did make a t-shirt like that and like inject it into, you know, the advertisement for the t-shirt into that video, but you can't do that. It says, read Mark's comment, then mine. It says, never delete goodbye, Felicia. No, never delete it. Read Mark's comment, then mine. Kilted Adventurer. Let's see. Billy, I got out of order here. Billy says, I don't know, but people are selling Hamels Park, the small park. Oh, yeah, because you had a similar situation down there with a theme park that closed for no apparent reason, and they're selling those shirts. I wonder if Gaylord Entertainment still owns Opryland, the trademark. That's worth a Google. But still, I wonder if somebody else can sell. Well, yeah, because if they're trademarked, then you have to have a licensing agreement and all that. I don't know. I don't think anybody would sue you over it. I think you could get a cease and desist. I don't think anybody would waste their time. But I don't think that would appeal to the whole channel, though. I thought about hoodies, because I love hoodies and long sleeve tees. I love hoodies and long sleeve tees. And so I thought about that. But then what do you put on? You know, I want to put something on there about life, because that's how this channel started, is getting people to re-engage into life long before COVID. And so, and that's still our theme. You know, get out there. Don't listen. Don't pay attention to the news, and keep living. Variety and Champion says, I like watching conspiracies, as do I. They're fun. It's entertainment. It's like watching a movie in the 1980s. That's what I say about conspiracy videos, except for Flat Earth. I can't do Flat Earth. I just can't do Flat Earth. There's this one dude that makes videos that, and he's really popular. I can't remember the name of it. Woodward TV. And he makes videos about the Book of Enoch and the end of the world and all the stuff, like conspiracy stuff. He does it with real cool music and everything. He's got a great voice. It's just interesting stuff. Anyway, Variety says, not because I believe in them. They're just interesting. Exactly. And sometimes creepy, like a ghost story. Right. They're entertainment. And that's why I didn't believe in the whole, in 2015 and 2016, the whole fake news bit. I just didn't think that, I don't think people were really buying into that junk. I really don't. Even on the Cumberland Gap video, I did notice that about 30% of the comments on there that I've kept up with, I don't keep up with it now, but for a few years I kept up with it. I was excited that I had a video that was making money. And I would scroll through there and read the comments and try to always respond. About 30% had something to add to the Cumberland Gap Tunnel conspiracy, you know, fun. Yeah, they just a representative of somebody that works for they commented and sent an inbox just like, hey, some of your information's wrong. And they were really nice, real professional. And I offered to come back and do a follow up, and when they didn't respond, and so I'm not going to correct anything in the video if you're not going to let me come back. You know what I'm saying? Variety Entertainment says, "Yeah, I don't know if you could legally sell a coaster with Opryland's logo. I have no clue. I think you know what I think you could do, Billy. I think you could make a shirt and it says Opryland, but maybe it doesn't look like that, like a generic Opryland sweatshirt or something." Variety says, "Gaylord does still own it. They use it on the hotel. Nah, whack, 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 whack. Still not a bad idea. I still think you could get by with it. I think shutting it down would be the hard part. Like, first of all, I got 10,000 subscribers, which is great. Thank you for subscribing and all that stuff. But it's not exactly a huge channel that's going to go, you know what I'm saying." Gary Millwood says, "What about a smudge picture of your face with a clear nose?" It's not a bad idea either. Because I thought about that. Like a ridiculous shirt, something with just a huge nose and a nose for life under it. And maybe a bald head. But then I thought, that's kind of weird. Brent says, "Mountains with Bill Marion's, a nose for life printed on the t-shirt and hoodies." At the end of the day, it really is that simple. Or some kind of, I thought about one that says amazing. And that's because the intentional overuse of the word amazing on our channel to be ridiculous. And so I thought about, and I'm not saying, I'm not against that idea. That's actually the leading idea that we have if we go with product, is to put amazing. And then like scripture on the back or nose for life under it or something like that. Make a shirt with a silhouette of you creek dancing. That's not a bad idea, Jessica. Not about that. You know what? I enjoyed doing that. That was so fun. And so many people, it brought joy to them. They laughed, Jessica being one of them. And what is it?
I don't know. There's a still shot of dancing. What made that moment so great in that
was the movement.
It's the dancing, the idea of it. So it's still shot on a shirt.
You could do a silhouette of somebody with their arms open in water somehow. I don't know. You could do that, though. I still get it. Toby says, "Variety Entertainment, check. Okay, plug in there." And then Kiltivich says, "Amazing. Ha, never mentioned it because I love you, but way overused." It's another meta thing, Toby, that we talked about on the phone, where you've got to go back 2 years. That even Kathy, a mutual friend of ours, I don't have permission to mention her last name, but Kathy there at the church, you know what I'm talking about, where it was a joke between us for a long time. I think it maybe Juan and Thomas and a few others have joked around about amazing. So we still do it. It's amazing, spectacular. About a nose for life on the sleeves.
Well, and you missed Juan and Bren both mentioned one of the beautiful shots that we have of the Virginia mountains.
The Blue Ridge,
or the front of a shirt. And then I'm pretty sure it was Mark saying like he agrees to, but make the shirt bright colors of only like no black, no navy.
It's not a bad idea.
And then on the sleeve is where they're adding the Bill Marion nose for life.
I'm kind of liking this.
Yeah.
I'm kind of liking this. Wow, you guys have got me. You got my brain going now. I'm loving it. Like the whole shirt's mountains kind of thing. Like the whole thing is like mountains.
And I think Brand or somebody mentioned maybe having like smaller images of mountains along the sleeve.
It's not a bad idea, but
I like it. Just make it too busy. I don't know.
No, I like it because it would stand out and people be like, "Oh, that's really cool." But here's the thing: that's going to be $100 sweatshirt. It is. That's all the colors and
initial setup.
Yeah. That's going to be an expensive. But I tell you what, if you're going to sell product, making it unique like that to me is the better. I'm loving this because I never thought about the mountains like being just boom, just all over it. That's not bad. I like it. And then down the sleeve, I really like that.
And then
yeah. Good stuff, guys. Good stuff. This is a great meeting. This is a great jam session. It's a jam session. Mark says, "Good idea." And says, "Just zero dark colors, no black, no navy." Juan says, "Perfect. Love that." Variety Entertainment. What annoys me about Opryland closure is that Gaylord sold Fiesta Texas as well as Opryland's rides to Six Flags, but they wanted the land from Opryland for a freaking shopping mall.
Which isn't all that great.
Which is not
that great.
It's not a good mall. It's like a warehouse with stores. We lived in Tennessee in Chattanooga for 13 years. We made a few trips to Nashville, one for the 2 or 3 for the channel actually. I went to Opry Mills once or twice, and I won't go again. There's a story that, matter of fact, I can make a sequel to Opry Mills to that video about Opryland, I actually could, and it wouldn't be a bad idea if I were down in Nashville. It'd be something I would do. But there is a sequel. There's all kinds of things I learned about the Mills Corporation, their malls. There's another Mills, the Potomac Mills, right? Potomac Mills.
Yes. Well, we couldn't name it the other day.
And it's a couple hours away from here on the Potomac. Imagine that. Same company, because they had a huge success up here. It's huge. So they go down to Nashville to copy that success and an up-and-coming city, because Nashville was making this huge comeback. I mean, Nashville's amazing. Nashville is absolutely amazing. So the idea, they didn't know anything about the theme park business, and they wanted to focus on the on malls. But even their current CEO says, we have no reason why we closed Opryland, and they will admit to you it was a bad idea. So there you go. You know, it's one of those. Juan Thomas says, we got you covered, Mr. Bill. Well, I'm telling you, we've had a great meeting.
Look at Bren's comment.
And then Carolyn said, look at Bren's comment. Chairman, do you have any more requests from us? I think I need to do the follow-up on that one. You know, I really need to do the follow-up, because that's what we need more. We need product on here, because we get a little bit from YouTube, and I'm grateful for that. And obviously you want to do better. But you know what? Good content. I realize if I were controversial and all that stuff, we would get out there faster, and I'm not going to be. I think that's not what we're called to do. And we don't have. I tell you, an up and coming channel is Toby's channel, The Kilted Adventurer, because you know he's got the shtick, he's got the kilt thing going on, and Toby's awesome. He's been a friend of mine for 20 years, and so what he's doing on his channel, he's doing things right from the get go. I keep telling him, have product. And his channel is going to explode. I'm telling you, he'll have all the requirements to be a part of the YouTube partner family within a year. You guys can definitely help him out there. Yeah.
Reach Strong's
I've got there. You need to have it say Bill Marion on the top, across the middle, and Big Frog on one side, and UFO on the other, and mountains on the bottom.
Just all over the place.
It's not a bad idea to have, like,
it totally fits who you are.
We could do the whole UFO, like a flying saucer here with Bigfoot reaching out to grab it, and then underneath it a nose for life. We could go with shtick. We could do that, because those, I got to be honest with you, if you're thinking about buying something, I don't know. Right? Someone says, yeah, Opry Mills was never as profitable as Opryland Park was. No, and it never will be. And now with the growth of Nashville recently, they definitely wish it was still there. Yes, you could have built that mall. Briley Park is an amazing place to build. I mean, it is. Briley Parkway is, my aunt and uncle lived right off Briley Parkway, like 15 minutes from Opryland, probably, or 20. And I'm trying to think of the name of that road, because you probably know exactly where they live. 15, 20 minutes from the park during the 60s, 70s, and 80s. They moved to McMinnville, I think, in the late 90s. Property value shot up. But they'll even tell you, they could have rebuilt Opryland anywhere, sold that land. I mean, there were things that they could have done. I will say this, Opryland was out of land. If you watch my video on it, Opryland had run out of room. And that's something that happened to Walt Disney in California. When you run out of room, the real estate around him got too expensive. Nobody would sell, because he had built the theme park. So that's why he came up with like 15 different real estate companies, you know, kind of fictional companies, and secretly bought up all of the swampland in middle Florida. And that's how Walt Disney World began. You know, they learned a lesson. They needed plenty of room. Reggie said, now that would be a busy shirt, Strong's Adventure. Yes, but it may sell, you know. Mark says, a windmill on the hood. You got that right. You know what I thought about is a hat. Maybe a silly hat like this, or just a regular ball cap with a windmill on it. You don't see that. Something different. Just something kind of crazy and something different. Billy says, Teesprings will help you from what I hear, and you don't handle the product. Teesprings. Is it seriously like I've never heard of Teesprings. That's worth a Google. We need to check Teesprings out, because that is the other thing, is like third parties. There's that trust issue, you know, like, do I trust these people? You know what, and the, you know, how hard is it to get them to make the product that you're wanting? And I'm not a designer, because some of these, one of them that works well with YouTube, they want you to make all these decisions, and I'm like, I don't know. And my kids.
I'm going to send you the link to Teespring. That actually looks legit.
Okay.
Yeah.
Teesprings, Carolyn's on it. She's going to send the link over, and we'll look at it tonight after the live stream. My kids, because they would be great at this. Anna's helping me finish a book that I'm writing. She's doing a fabulous job. She's doing an amazing job. And I'm really proud of her, because she's the real writer. I mean, but she's helping out. But getting them to help with this, because they can help so much with this, is like pulling teeth, because they're at that age where later they will be like, yeah, I'm going to help Dad. This is going to be, we can have fun working together. But right now they're still at that age of Dad's old and doesn't know what he's talking about. And I'm not saying that they're wrong on that either. I'm not saying that they're wrong. But yes, who knows? We may have product in the neck by the end of Christmas.
I think the T-shirt idea with the UFO, the Bigfoot, and like Mark just said, adding the windmill, that's going to capture a large audience of people because maybe somebody that maybe may not like mountains as much, but they like windmills, so they're like, oh, I'll still buy it.
But you're also still isolating yourself from people who don't get the joke. You know,
they get it if they're watching your show, and if they don't get it when they see the advertisement on the hoodie, then they're likely to go watch it.
But the mountain idea appeals to a lot of people. I'm just saying. It goes across the board. Juan says, I love that idea. Oh, that was Carolyn. Carolyn said, I love that idea. Strong's Adventure says, yes, sir, Toby.
No, read Juan's comment.
Juan says, the T-shirt and hoodies need to be made in the USA. I'm proud to be an American. Is anything made in the U.S. anymore? I mean, I started this thing by talking about the Christmas lights. None of them are made in America. They're all made in China. If there's anything worth getting in a tiff over, it's Christmas lights. I'm telling you, people, my blood pressure shot up. You have no idea. Yeah, Carol's like, because it did. I'm not making this up. I'm being vulnerable. I'm sharing with you right now. Because I put it off like from the morning. I didn't do it in the morning. And then the afternoon, you're busy. You can't do anything. And then at night, I was like, okay, it's time. We got to go live. And I need lights up on this thing. And I'm telling you, I was like shaking with anger over these Christmas lights. And they're not that expensive. It's the point. I don't like going to the Wally World to get Christmas lights. Brent says coffee mugs, which has also been an idea.
Yes, it was.
What's his name? Crowder. Louder with Crowder guy. Steve Crowder, is that his name? He's a comedian, does some political commentary stuff, and he has a mug club that I thought about starting. And I don't know how his works. And I thought about joining his mug club just to understand how the mug club works. Billy says, well, I'm union, and it really is hard for us to get T-shirts made in America. It is because the reason why is your T-shirts would cost $65. We're in this crazy time. Clothes have never been as inexpensive as they are now. That's a fact. I mean, clothes, there's no reason for anybody to do without clothes. I mean, one paycheck, you can get clothes. I mean, I'm not saying designer clothes. You're going to have to go to Walmart, but still, and those clothes can last. Like, I'm not even saying that you're buying cheap clothes that'll fall apart in no time. No, I mean, they're not what we used to have, sure. But, I mean, a hoodie or something, a cheap one. Not bad at all. And part of the reason why is most of that stuff is made in countries where they definitely don't have a union. They have the party, and that's a shame, but that's the whole thing. Cause I don't want to be a hypocrite about it. Cause I use a cell phone that was made in China. I think most of it's made in China under horrible conditions, Mark says, Wally World is best viewed after midnight. I'm scared to go to Wally World after midnight. I'm serious. Like there's a time when like vampires come out of the clothes. Like, man, in the dressing rooms, you might go by there and something could snatch you. Because it's scary at Wally World everywhere. It doesn't matter what city you live in. I felt sorry for people when they changed Walmart's hour. And I think Walmart is still on the not 24 hours, right, Carolyn? I think, if I'm not mistaken, they're not 24 hours.
Is not. I don't know.
No.
I'm sure some cities might be different.
Some cities might be back to 24 hours.
From when COVID hit, they started changing.
But most of the cities are still, they have hours now like they used to. And I always felt sorry for the people who waited till like, I don't know, 11:30 to do their shopping. I mean, I did that back when I was like in college, and you were probably at Walmart that late for a bad reason. But anyway, Thomas said you also need, Juan Thomas said you also need a 16-ounce water bottle with a Nose for Life on it. See the simplicity of that I love. The simplicity. Those new aluminum, whatever they're called, water things, you know what I'm talking about. I think that'd be great. I think that's a great idea too. And multiple things would be wonderful. I don't know what the overhead is on some of this. I did, but some of it, you're just in an agreement with the company. And it's not a bad deal at all. And I need to start doing some of those 30-second bits I haven't been to Blue Book in a while because it actually helps your channel. And I just hope it don't annoy you guys because you guys are the ones that really keep us going. Those moments that you think, I want to quit YouTube. I'm done. It's too much of a headache. Then, I start talking to you guys on the comments, and it makes it worth doing. And that's why we do Vlogmas, is really just to reconnect and just say, hey, I'm real. And these comments are real. These videos are really us. And you don't always get that, of course, on YouTube. and nor should you. I don't know that you would want to be friends or hang out with a lot of the people that you watch on YouTube, but I hope we're authentic enough that you feel like you connect. And that's the goal on the channel. So having a NordVPN advertisement in the middle of your video, and I qualify for those things, the Blue Book, they have a Blue Book that you access and you can bid and all this stuff to make a little extra change, but I wouldn't want that to offend or put off anybody. And goodness knows, I would want to have a product that I actually believed that I would use. I hate to pick on NordVPN, but those types of products, the problem is if you look into them, they're never exactly what they say they are. Hilton Adventure says textiles is not an American industry anymore. No, it is not. Intellectual property is where the American economy is. That's right. You're exactly right. Walmart is scary at normal times. At normal times, people at Walmart is in shot. Well, Toby, you are correct. Strong Adventure says, Juan Thomas, that is a great idea. I love the 16-ounce one. And that, to me, is one of the easiest. A nose for life, little mountain scene in the background engraved. I think it would be great. The auto suggestion got Juan. I knew what you meant. Thank you for Strong. Thank you, Strong and Mark. Noise for life. Hey, noise for life might be good, Mark. I think some people may think it's a noise for life. Am I right? Come on. Am I right? Variety Entertainment says, you're right, though. It's always some random VPN that nobody actually uses. Right. And see, here's the thing. One of the things you hear them say all the time on these different VPNs that, hey, you can watch Netflix in any country. And I guess during the heart of the pandemic, that may have appealed because Netflix, in case you didn't know, what you have on Netflix is not the same thing that Germany has on Netflix or other places. They have stuff we don't have. So it's one of those things where is that really a benefit? Because they say it blocks these companies from knowing, you can search anonymously, but that isn't actually true. When I found that out, because I was looking into it for myself, should I get a NordVPN thing? But it's not really what it's cracked up to be. And here's the other thing, and I always look at Carolyn because we laugh back and forth about this. I really don't care who knows where I'm browsing. I don't care. I don't go anywhere. Look, if I go somewhere, it's like, yeah, I went there. Did you visit such and such? Are you investigating the truth about Opryland? Yeah, sorry. So yeah, Bill, we don't mind your noise. Oh, speaking of noise, one of the things in that Beatles video is Yoko Ono singing in a mic. You gotta watch. Even if you don't watch the documentary, you need to Google Yoko Ono on a microphone. I'm just saying, priceless. It's bad. It's that bad. You'll have to calm your pets down when you're done. That's all I'm going to say. And look, I don't claim to be a great singer. I'm not a great singer, but she's not singing. She's screeching. I don't know what you call it. It's one of those where I feel sorry for Paul and George and Ringo because they're just sitting there, just playing music while she's doing this thing, and I'm going, wow. Because you can't say anything to her because it's John's wife. It's just weird situation there. But you can understand why it's time for the Beatles to break up. All right, so here's what we're going to do. I'm going to sign off. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go researching. And we're going to get a plan together. Before Vlogmas is finished, I declare we shall have product. And we will do it together. We will do it together. Juan says, you need earplugs when she sings. Man, you need to hit the off button when she sings, but you got to experiment with it one time just to see how bad it is. Kilton Adventure says, hitting Edwards Point tomorrow, then hit the later friends. Actually, good night, Bill. Carolyn, we love you. We love you too. Brand, we love you to death. You're wonderful. You made Carol out hysterically laugh last night. So funny. Mark says, Gwen and I are simultaneously ugged. We love you guys. You guys have a great night, and we will see you again tomorrow night around 9-ish Eastern Standard Time, and we will have a good time. We'll see you there.